Now, City Power is back in Alexandra, switching off non-paying customers. The power supplier is out to recoup R500 million owed to it and has taken a hard-line approach towards defaulters. This year, City Power cut off clients at several suburbs around Johannesburg, and today they've gone back to Alex. And that is where we find our reporter, Hloni Mtimkulu, who joins us now live for the latest. Hloni, City Power has been to Alex before, and it became quite violent with residents not wanting City Power officials to cut their electricity supply. How's it going today?
Yeah, Maseko, so we are on the industrial side of Alexandra, so we're not encountering the citizens, instead the businesses around here. So we've got car repair shops, panel beaters, we've got manufacturers of doors and shutter rollers, or roller doors actually. So that's sort of where we are at the moment. Earlier on when I spoke to Dumelo, we had just gone to the second property, having hit a residential property initially and then to a residential property. Now we've a residential property first rather, and then I've gone to a panel beater or car repair shop. We've gone to one more car repair shop, and now we were at a place that manufactures shutter rollers or roller doors actually. So, you know, we've sort of been in the more business side of City Power's operations this time around. Just it's so interesting to find that these businesses have illegally reconnected themselves. The two that we were, properties 3 and 4 that we went to, they have illegally reconnected themselves. They had been reconnected, they had been disconnected before under a previous operation by City Power, and then whoever they paid, whichever electrician they paid, we were asking about this and how easy it is to be able to reconnect yourself. And clearly with people knowing how to do these things, it seems pretty easy to do. They have just gone off to the 5th property, but I am going to bring in the spokesperson for City Power, Isaac Mangena. Just briefly, Mr. Mangena, maybe you can just talk to us about that sort of reconnection that people are able to do. How simple is it, and also how much does it set back City Power?
Thank you for having us. Yes, it is really disappointing that at some businesses that we revisited, we found that they've actually reconnected themselves. And I think one of the things that normally they will do is that they use internal resources. So they probably will be using the contractors that we are working with, or even some of our technicians. But we don't have the proof currently as to how they reconnected themselves. Yesterday, as you have seen, and we are moving closer in terms of arresting some of these people. Yesterday, as you have seen in the south, in Kibla Park, we arrested 2 of our contractors that reconnected one of the customers that we had cut off initially. So we have already spoken to Jiffies about some of these problems that we encounter in terms of the reconnections. But it's also about the law enforcement also arresting the very same business people that have reconnected themselves. It is in the bylaws that anyone who is found to have tampered with electricity or municipal infrastructure, for that matter, can actually be arrested for that purposes. So we will be taking it up with the police so that they can be able to do their job in terms of arresting these people. We are in the business of keeping the lights on, not arresting people. So it is the police that actually should do that. In fact, Metro Police that is with us here, they were basically talking about that, to say they need to basically come back and pick up some of the people that are actually doing this.
You talk about being disappointed, you know, at the subcontractors doing this. Just in terms of how much does it set City Power back? You already owed so much money. You're trying to recoup some of that money, but now you're almost working one step forward and lots of steps backwards.
Obviously, there's a lot of money that we are losing because it means these people are using electricity without paying for it. So it means that we are getting a setback in terms of the revenue that we're supposed to collect as City Power, and that's partly the reason why we've got so much in terms of the money that is in the raid. We are sitting at about 10 billion rand as City Power, most of which is part of the electricity that is being stolen, either by the customers like the businesses that you're talking about, but also illegal connections within the city of Johannesburg. On the last check, we were sitting with about 260 informal settlements. Most of those are stealing electricity, and that is the money that we're basically losing as City Power. But I'm glad that our CEO, Mr. Fularo Mashava, is basically trying to take this up with the authorities, whether within the city or even national government, who are responsible for housing, so that some of these informal settlements bill or debt can actually be covered by those departments, so that we can also be able to break even and be able to recover the revenue that is being lost.
Okay, and then just finally, maybe to wrap it up, and maybe Chekwane can just show us this padlock that I find interesting, that when you do come in here, it's not as if you're breaking in and then you don't secure the place afterwards. In terms of sort of those legalities and coming into a property and then leaving, how do you sort of manage those?
So basically, because of the problem that you just mentioned about people who are reconnecting themselves, we find ourselves basically having to come up with padlocks, strong padlocks that they may not be able to break, so that we can close some of these chambers to ensure that people do not come back and reconnect themselves. Obviously, that also means that we have to spend money on these padlocks. We've got a lot of these chambers that we have to go through, and that is a lot. But also, we are happy, as you can see, even with the small gate that has been put by the businesses around here. This is part of the project that we have embarked upon to ensure that we secure the electricity infrastructure. So most of the businesses have actually come on board to basically ensure that they secure this infrastructure, because of when electricity goes, they're the ones that are suffering, but also because of the frequency of this vandalism and theft that is happening on our infrastructure. It's difficult for us as City Power to keep up in terms of replacing and ensuring that people have got electricity. So this is part of the project that we are running, and we are really happy that the businesses are coming on board to assist us in this regard.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Masako, that was the spokesperson of City Power, just explaining to us what they go through. And it's interesting that he does mention the different entities that need to work together at some point to make sure that they are not working one step forward and moving a few steps back, because it's one thing to have these operations, but how do you make sure that there is an actual outcome and an effective outcome out of all of these things? It's one thing to have us media here and to show what you're doing and to cut off people, and we see that people are being cut off, but in the future to ensure that money is not being lost as much as it is being lost, given that they say nearly R500 million that they are owed, and today they're hoping to get back between 10 and 15 million from these businesses. Masako.